Anyways, we move into our next grouping that we have planned for everybody. For someone looking to get back into comics, this is a superhero comics specifically.
Yes.
Where do you want to start?
Yeah, so I'm going with the book that got me back into it, right? And
Mm-hmm.
surprise, surprise to nobody, it's
Oh,
Daredevil
oh my
by Chip
God!
Zdarsky and Marco Cecchio. And I mean, it just wrapped up. We're starting Devil's Reign. I mean, I've talked about this book ad nauseum, and we had Chip on, and we had a great conversation about it.
That was a lot
But
of fun for
you
me.
know,
Someone just listening to that, it was so much fun.
and I mean, it's yes, like the first book I recommended here, was Batman, like Batman, Superman, Spider-Man, X-Men, the Avengers, right? They're the big dogs, right? Those are the
Mm.
ones, that people are just gonna naturally gravitate towards when they walk into a comic book shop the first time because sort of that's what they know. But if you want to, read something that is engrossing and captivating with beautiful artwork and about a character that you might not know as much, I mean, Daredevil is the perfect book to go with. There's so much conflict here, between Daredevil and Kingpin and Elektra and all the other characters involved. This is a home run of a book, can't miss.
Absolutely. Great call. Great series. I'm obviously not up to date on it like you are. But from what I've read, I've very much enjoyed. And actually, did I read the first? I think I actually did end up reading Devil's Reign. I forgot to put that up on catching up, but
Oh,
that
wasn't that
first
so
issue,
good?
oh, so good. So good. So,
So
yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. It's a great pick.
yeah, and then I just have a couple of honorable mentions here. I mean, crossover. I mean, we talked about crossover on here. We love it because
So good.
it's using all these characters from all these different properties and putting them in one mega superhero story,
Hmm.
which is absolutely great. And then another Zdarsky book, Spider-Man Life Story.
Hmm.
Like I said, like Spider-Man, Superman, Batman, the Avengers, X-Men. Like these are the characters that you gravitate towards. And even if you're very familiar with Spider-Man, this was just a different take on his story
Hmm.
and seeing him through the decades. It was such. I just love this book so much.
No Fantastic Four life story. That
Oh, that's
surprises me.
coming up next. It's
Yeah.
not done yet, so
Hmm.
I didn't want to.
Oh, it's your other it's your other honorable mention on
It
this
will be
list.
next year.
Ah, okay.
Every category is going to be a different Fantastic Four book.
So Joe mentioned the book that got him back into comics, and of course, for me, I mentioned that was Red Hood and the Outlaws, the new 52 run, and I really, really enjoyed that. And I think that can fall under here too, but given the direction of Red Hood too, I'm also a little apprehensive to say like that's not the same guy you're going to be dealing with right now in DC, just because he's putting away the guns and all that kind of stuff. Still a lot of fun, but for me, again, I know I'm saying Batman off the rip twice, but Batman White Knight is very different still from Snyder and Capullo's Batman run. It is a Black Label series. It is in Sean Murphy's own little universe. He's had 2 arcs so far. He's got a third one. I don't know if it's going to be the last one. Of course, there's a Harley Quinn spinoff. We had Katana Collins on a while back to talk about that as well. And we've enjoyed everything from this series. And for me, like, this is also like this is good for like when we're talking about people who are looking to get back into superhero comics. Like I can understand you age out of that stuff. There are just some things there are things that Joe and I complain about on here that I could easily see kids not necessarily being bothered by, like Crimson Reign. Maybe younger audience, maybe they're okay with that Star Wars stuff, having all these different things brought in the mix because it's all still kind of new to them. But for us, it's like, no, this is not how it's been. And like you can change stuff, but that doesn't make sense to change things that anyways, I digress. With Batman White Knight, of course, Batman, you've seen a lot of similar stuff with him over the years, as much as even Scott Snyder and Greg Capullo to Tynan. And in between, we've seen really good stuff since then. I think that like sometimes when you can get that character really flipped on his head, like Snyder did, it's hard to see that fully happen. But with Batman White Knight, Sean Murphy absolutely does that. He pushes him to his limits. And then we see Joker in a whole different light, and Gotham sees Joker in a whole different light, and it is an absolute mess. It's a shit show for Batman, and it really asks you a lot of questions about him and like with the direction that Joker goes in throughout this story. It's like, well, I mean, I feel a little differently about the way things are going right now. Should I like? Is that wrong of me, or is that just the way that Murphy's kind of handled this? And I absolutely love this series. One of my all-time favorite Batman series.
Yeah, and I love the art too.
Oh, so good.
whether Murphy's art is unique and it's fantastic, and I think it fits the story perfect. And then when you with White Knight presents Harley, whatever the ridiculous long name of that title was,
Yeah.
Katana Collins' story is Matteo Scalera's art
And guess
was
who's the artist on King of Spies? I meant to tell you that.
it's Matteo.
It's Matteo Scalera.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, his art's great. It's very similar to Murphy's too, so it was a perfect fit.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's a lot of fun stuff there. We can't wait for the next one that he's got, and it looks like it's going to have Batman Beyond, Terry McGinnis involved too. So a lot of fun there. Murphy, I joke about, like, I want to hear your Mount Rushmore for comic book creators, and as time's gone on, it's like I kind of think Sean Murphy would make my short list, my like top 4. I'm not certain. I'd have to sit and really think about it, but it's like I love everything that he does pretty
Well,
much.
he's a
Like,
great writer, and his art
his art is
art's
really good too.
fantastic as well. And I think why this makes a great gift is that, again, it's a slightly different take on the Batman mythos, where
Mhm.
it's similar enough, but it's just different, because that's the thing, right? You've got 1,000 Batman titles, and they're all virtually cut from the same cloth. So when you can
Mhm.
get something that's just a little different without completely flipping it on its head and making it like just
Mhm.
not what it's supposed to be about, I think you're gonna have a good time. And
Yeah.
people reading this book who are familiar enough with Batman, but haven't you read the White Knight stuff, the Murphyverse stuff, I think they'll enjoy it very much.
Yeah, and with these things too, for anybody getting back into it, who's like, yeah, I might want to get back into it, but like I just don't know where. Because if you've read comics, you just know how much there is with some of these legacy characters. Well, this is easily one you could, if you pick this up for somebody you want to buy for a gift, you can easily hand it to them and say, this is separate. This is its own thing. Yes, it's still Batman and all these characters, but it's very much removed from all the mainline stuff, and it doesn't have an impact on it. So you
No.
can read it, and it's just like having fun. It is a good story, and that's what DC Black Label is all about.
Yes.
Yeah. The last thing I want to mention too, honorable mention, Deathstroke Rebirth. There's a character who stuff's been done with over the years, but not a whole hell of a lot up until like recently, I would say, in terms of having his own title. And Deathstroke Rebirth, Christopher Priest, I can't say enough, is an amazing, amazing run. I think it ended up being 50 issues on the nose, but that's one you can collect all those editions, get them the first 2, and they're gonna crush them. Like, absolutely, I inhaled that shit.